song by Riders in the Sky. And that goes out to Alvin. A special good morning to you, Alvin.
Thanks, Mike. It seems pretty appropriate today that we're having our own roundup at the space station with about as many different visiting vehicles as you can imagine, and getting together with our crewmates aboard the space station today. So we're looking forward to our own roundup, and going well today.
We're looking forward to watching you guys do your job today, and the space station guys and gals are all excited about you coming aboard.
A live view on board the International Space Station. You see Katie Coleman there on the far right-hand side, Paulo Nespoli there in the middle. Back in the back is Scott Kelly. This is half of the Expedition 26 crew. They're working inside the Destiny laboratory, getting ready to greet Space Shuttle Discovery later on today. While they are doing this, the crew of Discovery is working through the rendezvous timeline. They began that about 20 minutes ago.
In Houston, we have a tally-ho on the ISS out the front windows.
Great news, Discovery.
That thing is a lot bigger since the last time I was here.
We've been busy.
Yes, you have. But I really haven't been slacking either.
Well, I'm sure you look forward to seeing it on the inside, too, and I know they're looking forward to having you soon.
You bet.
Space Shuttle Discovery maneuvering around a bit, bringing the Earth into view down below the orbiter's nose. Discovery is right above South America at this point in time, heading to the northeast, about to cross out over the Atlantic Ocean, still trailing back behind. The International Space Station now less than 40 miles separating the two spacecraft. That's the orbiter docking system and the ring that will actually make contact with the International Space Station. Discovery is bound for the Harmony node. This is going to be pressurized mating adapter number 2. That's actually going to be basically the hatch and the tunnel that will connect the station to Discovery. Space Shuttle Discovery passing over Africa at this point in time is right above Algeria. About to pass over parts of Tunisia, just to the west of Libya and Tripoli. It'll then head out over the Mediterranean Sea, over parts of Greece, Bulgaria, and then continuing on to the northeast. Now just more than 30 miles separating the International Space Station and Discovery.
Discovery Houston, you are go for the TI burn.
Copy, go for the TI.
Discovery is performing this burn from a distance of about 9 miles away from the International Space Station. You see the white dot there on your screen. These are views from the cameras on the outside of the station's structure. 5 seconds to the burn. And there it goes. Discovery's left engine now firing for 11 seconds. The burn completed, standing by for confirmation from the team here in Houston. And a good burn confirmed.
Good burn, Discovery, no further trim required.
Copy. Station Discovery, com check on the big loop. Discovery Station has you loud and clear on the big loop. What took you guys so long? Yeah, I don't know. We kind of waited till the last 2 seconds, but it's good to hear your voice, Scott. You guys look great, so we're on our way. All right, we look forward to seeing you. Us too.
And Houston Shuttle copies you on the big loop.
Discovery is heading to a point 600 feet down below the International Space Station. Space Shuttle Discovery on its way toward performing this rendezvous pitch maneuver for the final time. Discovery was the first shuttle to ever do this maneuver back during STS-133. That mission took place in July of 2005.
Discovery Houston on the big loop. We show us on the approach cue card. You have a go for RPM. Go to proceed inside 600 feet.
Go for the RPM and go to proceed inside 600 feet. Okay, I'm Stevie Ray. Just to confirm, RPM open start window is 20:21:46.
We concur with that time, Steve.
This a view from inside Space Shuttle Discovery's orbiter docking system looking up toward the International Space Station. The teams here in Houston confirming that Discovery has reached what is known as the R-bar. This is the position down directly below the space station. It places Discovery in between the space station and the Earth. This is the point at which it will conduct this rendezvous pitch maneuver.
My call, initiating RPM. 3, 2, 1, mark.
So at 12:15 p.m. Central Time, Space Shuttle Discovery begins its final backflip maneuver known as the rendezvous pitch maneuver. It will flip over on its back. Katie Coleman and Paulo Nespoli are in the Zvezda service module of the International Space Station. Both of them have cameras in hand, snapping away hundreds of pictures of Discovery during this maneuver. Paulo Nespoli has a lens that is 800 millimeters. Coleman has a 400 millimeter lens in her hands. They will take very detailed photographs of Discovery's heat shield, all the different tiles that are on the bottom of the shuttle, to make sure that they are in good shape after Discovery's ride into orbit 2 days ago. This RPM maneuver was created in the wake of Shuttle Columbia. It was put into every shuttle mission that has visited the space station since then. It gives the ground teams here in Houston a chance to take a look at the shuttle in detail to make sure that the outer part of the shuttle and the heat shield is as they expect it to be.
Station Discovery, start photos. Station copies.
Discovery currently 582 feet away from the space station.
Station Discovery, end photos.
Nespoli and Coleman have wrapped up their photographs of Discovery's heat shield. They will begin the process of downlinking these photos to the ground teams here in Houston soon after Discovery docks. Discovery putting on quite a show there as it and the space station fly over the northeastern part of South America, about to head out over the Atlantic Ocean. Discovery is now 470 feet away from the space station. It is passing underneath the station's giant robotic arm. That arm will be the focus of activities later on today after docking. There's going to be a ballet of sorts between Discovery's robotic arm and the station's robotic arm to lift this Express Logistics Carrier number 4 out of Discovery's payload bay and to hand it off between the two arms. And ultimately, the station's arm will be used to move over and install ELC-4 on the outside of the station's structure.
Discovery Houston on the big loop. You are go for docking.
Good news. Go for docking. Station and Houston, Discovery is initiating final approach. Station copies.
Houston copies.
Discovery at 25 feet away from the station, the shuttle notifying the Expedition 26 crew and the team here in Houston. It has begun its final approach to the International Space Station, now just 23 feet separating the two spacecraft. They are approaching the northwestern coast of Australia, about to make a southeastern pass over that continent. Now just 20 feet away. Discovery about to make some history here as it docks with the International Space Station for the final time. This will be the 13th time Discovery has visited the station. His first docking ever was Mir back on STS-91 back in June of '98. First time it greeted the space station was on STS-96 back in May of '99.
Station and Houston, Discovery has capture confirmed.
Docking confirmed in 1:14 p.m. Central Time.
Discovery copies, free drift.
From Houston, station free drift is confirmed.
Once again, the two vehicles now being put in free drift. The docking time, once again, 1:14 p.m. Central Time. They were over Australia at that point in time. Discovery has now made its final docking to the International Space Station. This International Space Station has become quite a sight to behold. As you take a look at everything, you realize just exactly how complex and just enormous this complex has become. This is the first time that each of the visiting vehicles, such as Soyuz, Progress, ATV, HTV, the shuttle, all the different partner nations have something representative, and you're seeing it here in this view.
Discovery Houston, to tag up with you, it looks like we're going to have to wait for the gravity gradient to come back around the other side. Approximately 30 minutes or so. FAO is looking forward into the timeline. We'll update you as we go along.
Okay, understand. We're seeing the same thing here. We just FYI, we got the line light.
Okay, thanks, Nicole.
What the teams here in Houston are watching is the alignment between Shuttle Discovery's docking mechanism and pressurized mating adapter number 2, which you see there in the center of the screen. They have to make sure that the loads in between the shuttle and the station are evenly distributed around that docking ring, which is a delicate process, as you can imagine. Whenever the station weighs almost 1 million pounds, the shuttle weighs 250,000 pounds, and the two are traveling more than 17,000 miles an hour around the Earth. So they're going to watch it for the next 30 minutes. They're seeing a bit of a pull on one side of it. Discovery is fine, the station's fine, but they have to wait for those forces to dampen out over the next half hour before they can move forward with the hatch opening.
And now 336 shuttle crew members coming on board, led by Commander Steve Lindsay. It's his third visit to the International Space Station, followed by Mission Specialist Nicole Stott, returning to where she spent months as a space station crew member. Mission Specialist Steve Bowen, also making his third visit to the station. Mission Specialist Mike Barrett, another former International Space Station crew member. And finally, there's pilot Eric Bowe, his second visit to the station. Mission Specialist Alvin Drew, also making his second visit inside the International Space Station. The 6 International Space Station crew members, now with their 6 Shuttle Discovery guests all together inside the station's Harmony module. Hatches between the two vehicles were opened at 3:16 this afternoon. The shuttle crew members floated into the station at 3:36. While we're doing those numbers, the docking of Discovery to the International Space Station for the 13th and final time took place at 1:14 Central Time this afternoon. The next big activity for some of the crew members will be to begin the installation of Express Logistics Carrier 4 onto the space station's truss structure. This view in the payload bay of Discovery from camera in the payload bay is showing us a portion of ELC-4. That's a more than 8,000-pound structure that is designed to hold spare parts as well as external science payloads that need to be exposed either toward deep space or down toward the Earth. On top of the ELC, you can see folded up one of the major pieces of hardware being delivered on the ELC. That's a spare heat rejection subsystem radiator for the station's external active thermal control system. The procedure for installation involves a number of the members of the joint crew and both of the robotic arms, both Canadian robotic arms that are one on the station and one on the shuttle. Mission Specialists Mike Barrett and Nicole Stott will be taking up their station at the controls of Canadarm2 inside the station's cupola module, while Eric Bowe and Al Drew will be flying the Space Shuttle arm from the aft flight deck.
Houston Station, Big Loop for robotics. Go ahead, Mike. Yes, Dan, looks like we have BIPFU-COM. We got our views shipped over, and they look great. And we are ready at step 1, and we're holding for your word. Go to crash. And Houston, we're maneuvering for the grapple.
We're looking at a view into the Quest airlock, the equipment lock section. Steve Bowen is in the foreground, Al Drew behind him as the two spacewalkers are getting their EMUs, their spacesuits, set up in the equipment lock section.
Space Discovery, Mike and Nicole, you are go for ELC unberth. We copy, go for ELC-4 unberth, putting step 6 in work.
And the robotics officer in the space station flight control room reports motion has begun. The Canadarm2 lifting the ELC-4 from the payload bay. Express Logistics Carrier 4 now being held above the shuttle payload bay by Canadarm2. lifted high enough to have cleared the OBSS on the starboard sill, as well as the permanent multi-purpose module in the payload bay behind it. These dark images, the result of the fact that this activity is going on while the shuttle station complex is in orbit 221 miles above eastern Africa, now just crossing the equator on a southeasterly course, and clearly in orbital nighttime. Sunrise won't come for them until they're out over the Indian Ocean. This view is coming from the payload bay camera in the forward port side of Discovery's payload bay, the forward port corner. Al Drew and Eric Bowe are controlling Canadarm, flying it across the payload bay to reach out beyond the starboard sill, where Canadarm2 is currently holding the Express Logistics carrier at the handoff position. And this wider perspective shot, you can see the shuttle arm poised to begin to move in to grapple that open fixture, and you can see the station arm from its base here on the underside of Harmony module, just below and left of the center in this view, holding the ELC out over the starboard edge of Discovery's payload bay. And a grapple confirmed. The Space Shuttle robotic arm has a firm grip now on Express Logistics Carrier 4, that at 6:08 Central Time. The next big step is for the Space Station robotic arm to release its grip on ELC-4, and Barrett and Stott have gotten the go to begin that procedure. And there's the motion. Canadarm2 backing away from the Express Logistics carrier, leaving it in the sure grip of the Space Shuttle's robotic arm. The first of the two handoffs of the Express Logistics carrier between Space Shuttle and Space Station arms is complete. In this view from the Space Station camera, you can see that the ELC-4 is being held there by the Space Shuttle robotic arm, the one in the center and right side of the screen. The empty end effector of Canadarm2 in the upper left-hand side, that is the end effector that is now going to be maneuvered around to the front side of the space station's truss structure, which is on the top side of the station, which is the bottom side of the current frame. In this camera view, it's going to be flown up to grapple the mobile base system that's up on the front side of the station truss, and that will become the new base of operations. Then the end effector that is currently holding on to the underside of Node 2, which you can see in the middle left-hand side of the frame here, that end effector will be commanded to release its grip, and Mike Barrett and Nicole Stott will then fly the arm, now based on the mobile base system, to reach back here to the ELC-4 and once again hold on to that grapple fixture so that the shuttle robotic arm can let go, and then Canadarm2 can swing this up and install it on the truss on the underside of the S3 truss element, which is slightly obscured in our current view, but it is just behind where we see ELC-4 right now. That will be the destination, the installation point for ELC-4 on the nadir side of the S3 truss element. We're watching the Space Station robotic arm in another OCAS, operator controlled auto sequence. as Mike Barrett and Nicole Stott maneuver Canadarm2 to have this open end effector grapple payload data grapple fixture up on the mobile base system to change its base of operations to continue with the ELC-4 installation.
Discovery Station Houston on the big loop for Steve, Scott, and the timelines. Station's listening. Discovery's listening. Okay, looking at the timeline, we're running about an hour late this evening. Our preference down here, though, would be to go ahead and press through ELC-4 install. That would get you to bed a little late, but we'd be able to let you sleep in 30 minutes longer in the morning. That time would come out variously out of post-sleep prep work and transfer, and tomorrow's sleep would be at the planned time. What's your preference? Press. Press. Copy, press.
Shuttle Station Complex is now 220 miles above Western Africa and in the middle of a night pass. The shuttle arm is maneuvering the Express Logistics Carrier 4 into the hand-back position, get it properly set up so that it can be re-grappled by the space station's Canadarm2 once the base change is complete. And this new camera view shows that the Canadarm2 has now released its grip on the grapple fixture on the underside of Node 2, the Harmony module. Mike Barrett and Nicole Stott, next step will be to maneuver Canadarm2 to re-grapple the ELC-4, which is being held off of the starboard side of the vehicle by the Space Shuttle's robotic arm. The new free end of the Canadarm2 is being moved into position to grapple the Express Logistics Carrier number 4, or perhaps to re-grapple it. It's been held in that orientation by the Space Shuttle's robotic arm.
And Houston Station going for the grapple. We're with you.
Barrett and Nicole Stott are controlling the robotic arm from the workstation in the cupola module. And here's a camera view inside the cupola. Nicole Stott is also making use of the camera views on the monitors in front of her as she flies Canadarm2 to move back in to re-grapple the ELC-4. This robotics workstation had previously been installed in the laboratory, and after the delivery of the cupola was relocated so that shuttle arm operators now have a direct, in many cases, now have a direct eyeball view of the activity of the robotic arm which they are controlling.
Station Houston, big loop for robotics. We see a good trigger, and looking ahead, 15.5 payload and grapple fixture power inhibits are in place.
Okay, we copy inhibits in place. Thanks, Ted.
And our camera view shows at 8:09 Central Time, Space Shuttle Arm has released ELC-4. The second handoff is complete, and Canadarm2 is now got control of Express Logistics Carrier 4.
ISS Discovery on the big loop. SFRMS is go for the ELC-4 maneuver.
We copy. Go for the ELC-4 maneuver.
Houston Station for robotics. Just want to comment that this out-the-window view is both
comforting and spectacular.
Copy that, Mike, and I've been instructed to ask whether you are a bat or a gopher.
I think we're kind of a bapper. I guess we're kind of hanging upside down and enjoying the dark. And Gopher and that Groundhog, maybe, if we could do this again every day, it'd be fine.
Copy all.
Station Houston, big loop for robotics. Looking ahead to step 17.2, MCS config is good, and when you get there, SSRMS is go for ELC4 install.
Okay, we copy Stanley. SSRMS is go for ELC4 install.
Now I can see the ELC4 in motion. The Canadarm2 being flown by Nicole Stott. Now moving the ELC toward its installation position on the S3 truss segment.
And Houston Station, you probably see we had to drive quite a bit in there. We have 3 good latches, and pass operator maneuver to RTL complete on the big loop. You are go for first phase capture.
Houston copies and concurs.
Houston Station on the big loop for robotics.
Go ahead.
Yes, Stan, I just wanted to thank Mike for being the voice of ELC4 up here today and let you guys know how much we appreciate your help and that it was really very impressive working from the cupola and watching how these arms work together and getting ELC berths to the truss.
Thanks for those words, Nicole, and you guys rock. It was wonderful watching you from here.
That was your first look at the highlights from the third day of Space Shuttle Discovery's mission, Flight Day 3, the docking day for the Space Shuttle crew.